As a small business owner or an entrepreneur, I'm sure you ask yourself this question a lot, as did Be Legendary here on this YouTube channel. He said, hey Tamer, what gives? As an entrepreneur, do I have to go through pain, suffering, hell, misery, all of that stuff, tough it out so that I can one day become a successful business owner? Or do I pivot? And which one is it? Because I hear people saying you need to pivot and other people saying you need to be resilient. Yes, great questions, but there is a much more fundamental question you should be asking yourself as a business owner if you really want to succeed, because all of that is actually superficial and actually too late. You're too late because you're reacting to the market. And what you want to be doing is predicting the market, because we live in a dynamic market. And that question is, what data do I need to collect so that I can have enough information to understand what my target market, what needs do they have as a problem to be solved, and how can I go about doing that? And this will change. Because if you find a potential business model that works today, there's no guarantee that it's going to work in 5 years' time or even 5 days' time. It will work today. And that's great. And what happens is that when small business owners start up, they go through several pivots.
I don't think it's going to pivot anymore.
What they're doing is they're testing the market and they're seeing what works and what doesn't, and what the actual target marketplace is demanding and actually needs as a solution. When our world changes, and we live in a dynamic world, the market changes. And as the market changes, those problems and needs will also alter. So if you are one step ahead of that game, whilst you're actually collecting data from your clients, from your potential customers, from being able to read specific data and information sets from stats and industry and current affairs, and being able to actually predict what's going to happen tomorrow, but also how to react to the current information that we're getting today, and have an efficient process inside your business as a system that feeds back that loop in a way that you can react to the market pretty quickly. Because sometimes, yes, we're going to get hit with things that we never saw coming, like the pandemic. But usually what you're going to be doing in normal world, you're going to be looking at saying, hey, okay, do I have focus groups? Do I have surveys that I put out? Do I get feedback from my customers? Do I actually get feedback from the potential clients that didn't buy? What is the actual problem that we need to solve here? And does it still exist today? Is it still going to exist in a year? Is it still going to exist in 5? Because if you don't move and actually change and react and be there for the market of today and potentially for tomorrow, you're going to get left behind, because new companies are going to come out and say, hey, look at all these companies. They're not addressing today's problems. And what they're saying is like, we've got a new solution that none of these other businesses have. And the companies that thrive and survive are the ones that constantly are able to get sufficient data from the market to be able to react to the market.
Input, more input.
Now, when we get to being persistent and persevering and going through hell and misery and all of that stuff, yes, but making sure that we're making decisions based on credible data and useful data that we're getting so that we can understand how to grow. Because sometimes we can react and we sometimes say, hey, you shouldn't quit. But actually, sometimes quitting is the best thing to do. Otherwise, you're going down this crazy sort of like avalanche where everything will sort of crumble and collapse because that potential solution just doesn't work. So actually sticking and persevering through that doesn't make sense. But if you're consistently collecting that data, your persistence then to being able to, when you need to, persevere when you need to, maintain enough cash flow in the business so that you can survive long enough until you can actually get the model that works, and then keep enough cash in the bank to be able to collect that information, collect that data, and get it inside so that you have a process inside to turn that around and react to your feedback loop that you're getting. That's what you should be doing if you want to be not just successful today, but successful in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years time, or even if you want to just pass this down to family, or you want to sell the business model. People look not only at the teams when they're buying a business, they actually look at the business model, they look at the systems in place, they look at the IP and a whole bunch of other things. And part of the systems that we and other investors would look at is, how is this going to adapt? Are they agile enough to adapt to a changing market? So next time you ask yourself this question, do I pivot or do I persevere? The more fundamental question is, how can I collect enough data inside my business to make the right decision on which one of these two I need to do? And if you want to understand how to actually look at your marketplace and your demographics, this is the video for you to go and watch right now.